Hello everyone, I'm John Day, producer and director of the Sasquatch Audio Drama Series. In this upcoming episode, we have reenacted a true encounter which was experienced by Dan Mullins. Dan plays the part of Captain Willis, Hank the storekeeper, as well as the occasional radio news anchor. Of course, for the sake of the storyline, we have the encounter happening to Captain Willis, but in reality, it actually happened to Dan when he was 21 years of age. Dan has also written the script for this story, telling it just as it happened. So get yourself a snack or your favorite drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 50. My goodness, have we really come that far? Memories and mysteries, coming your way right now.
Shasta ATC, this is Alpha Tango Bravo 339 out of San Fran at 8000. I have a mayday, how do you read?
Alpha Tango Bravo 339, this is Shasta ATC. I read you 5x5, how many?
Loud and clear, Shasta ATC. I am leaking fuel and I need a place to land. Can you give me options?
Alpha Bravo Tango 339, we have a runway available. We see you currently over the Brooksdale Forest Land. If you turn right 15.745 degrees, you should see the runway just 3 miles south of your current location.
Thank you, Shasta ATC. I'm losing a lot of fuel here. You're a real lifesaver.
Roger, we have emergency equipment already rolling and ready to assist.
Roger that.
Well, all the reporters are gone. I guess they got what they came for.
Yeah, that was quite the fiasco.
It sure was. I even had one reporter come up to me and ask me if I thought Bigfoot and aliens were related.
And what did you tell them?
I told him there's no absolute undeniable evidence to prove it, but that there is a possibility of such a thing.
Good. You didn't commit one way or the other then.
No, I didn't. But it sure got me to thinking, though. I looked it up online asking the question, is there any connection between Bigfoot and UFOs? Of course, I got the answer I expected to get. It said, some researchers believe that Bigfoot and UFOs may be connected and that Bigfoot could be an alien or interdimensional traveler. It also said that Bigfoot and UFOs have been seen in the same area, such as in 1973 when witnesses saw a glowing object land in a pasture and 2 Bigfoot creatures came out of the woods.
Being seen in the same location doesn't prove they're connected any more than when a UFO is seen in the same location as humans. If a UFO landed in your backyard, you would definitely come out of your house to see it. But does that mean you're connected to it? Not at all. You just happen to be in the same place at the same time, and you're curious about it. The same thing's true with the Sasquatch. If an orb or UFO of some kind is seen in or near the woods, and then suddenly a Sasquatch appears just after that, it just means they're curious and want to see it. It doesn't mean they're related. There are a lot of people who are very skeptical about the connection between the two. Others swear by it. But until someone somewhere is brave and bold enough to step up and tell their honest experience of seeing a Sasquatch step in or out of a UFO, and it's been proven that that person's not a liar, then we can only continue to hold the whole idea at arm's length as a theory. As it stands now, there's more proof of us being related to aliens than there is of the Sasquatch being connected to them. There are countless cases of people telling their stories of alien abduction and having surgery done on them, removing eggs from women and sperm from men. These are honest people with good, pure motives with nothing in it for themselves. Those are the kinds of testimonies that are easy to believe, because with the way the media and many others treat such stories, why would anyone subject themselves to all that ridicule and criticism by making up such a thing and telling the whole world it was real, only to have it shot down and have their good reputation ruined?
Exactly. No one would. But from what I've learned, there's really no evidence supporting or denying the connection between Sasquatch and the aliens. It's a proven fact that both exist, but as for their connection, it's mainly just hearsay.
Well, just to kind of play on the other side of the fence for a minute, just because there's no clearly defined evidence for something doesn't mean it isn't true either. It just means it hasn't been proven yet. Someone could see something and keep it to themselves for 50 years, just like old Jed Cooper did. Or maybe just share it with trusted friends and family members. But their experience is no less true. It's just the rest of the world doesn't know about it yet. It took eons for someone to finally come along and say the Earth was round and not flat, or that the Earth travels around the sun and not the other way around, or that the Milky Way galaxy isn't the center of the universe. The people who discovered these things were deemed lunatics and outcasts. But their theories were proven and today are totally accepted as truth. Maybe one day someone will be bold enough to step up to the plate and tell the world they saw a Sasquatch enter or exit a UFO. But until then, it's all just so much theory and speculation.
So what about this Jeremy Hathaway? We saw the video of him suddenly appearing at the base of the light beam below the UFO. Do we know for sure that he's an alien? Or just some random human that happened to be returning after an abduction?
That crossed my mind as well. But if he was simply being returned after an abduction, he sure seemed pretty calm about it. Did you notice in the video how he just pulled his club out of his bag and just started playing? Anyone who'd been abducted wouldn't be so calm and nonchalant. They'd be a little dazed and confused by the whole ordeal.
True.
So with him being so calm, it's pretty clear he isn't a normal human being. He's acting like one, though. Telling his whole story to the radio station, talking about how he doesn't want to return to the golf course and all that. But all that's just an act. He isn't what he appears to be. The question is, what's he doing here? And what does he want?
Hey, Chuck, did you see that thing?
You mean you saw it too? That means I'm not crazy. I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
That thing must have been 9 feet tall.
And did you see its eyes? They were freaky.
Yeah, they looked almost human.
That was the wildest thing I think I've ever seen.
Hey, do you remember that woman that lives near here? Her husband died a few months back.
Oh, you mean old Widow Johnson?
Yeah, that's her. She's the one. I wonder if she saw it. I swear that woman has eyes in the back of her head. She notices everything that goes on in these parts.
The kind of luck she has, I wouldn't doubt it. I've never known anybody who could be in the right place at the right time as often as she is.
Well, if she did see it, I'm sure she'd be calling Brookstone Station before we can get there. I sure would like to hear what she's got to say about it.
Yeah, you and me both, buddy.
Well, so much for our whirlwind trip to the golf course. What exactly did we accomplish on this trip again?
Well, from a scientific and an evidence point of view, not a lot. I mean, yeah, we discovered that there's an alien roaming around these parts disguised as a golfer, but other than that...
I don't know. It just feels like it was a waste of time.
No Bigfoot investigation is ever a waste of time, Jerry. I don't care if all we find is one single solitary footprint. Even the smallest amount of information is worth the effort. In fact, even if we don't find any physical evidence, it's worth the trip just to be able to talk to the eyewitnesses. You see, while it's true that we do focus on the actual hard evidence, there's a part of this business that's all about relationships. When someone calls us and says they've seen something, their first impression of us is very important. In that moment, whether it's on the phone, online, or face-to-face, the most important thing to that person is how much we care about what they have to say. They're already walking on eggshells around their friends and family, what with being ridiculed and laughed at about what they saw. The last thing they need is for us to act like what they have to say is a waste of time. So every trip like this, no matter how far away from home it happens to be, is well worth the time and effort.
Wow, that was a really good speech. I feel as if right about now, a huge crowd should be applauding everything you just said.
Well, thank you, Jerry. It's just all part of the... What in the world was all that about?
I think our sound effects guy is showing off his sense of humor.
That was just a bit weird. Well, anyway, it'll be good to get back to the lab and see what's happening on the home front. I suppose he'll be pretty happy to get back to see Annabelle.
Definitely. In fact, if it's okay with you, I'd like to go see her the minute we get back.
That's totally fine, son. Well, it won't be too long. We're over halfway there already.
Professor, it's Captain Willis.
Yes, Captain. What's happening in your neck of the woods these days?
Do you happen to remember us talking about possibly calling Larry Cooper and thanking him for giving us that book?
I sure do.
And you mentioned doing a three-way call so we could both thank him.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Well, I guess with the two of us being so busy lately, we just never got around to it. But I'm in a bit of a lull at work right now, so I thought maybe if you have a few minutes, would now be a good time to make that call?
Why, sure. Now would be a great time. We're pretty much between cases, so things are a little quiet right about now.
Sounds like I called at the perfect time.
That you did, Captain. That you did.
Well, I have the three-way calling up and running here on my phone, and all I need to do is dial Larry's number, and we'll be in business. You ready?
Ready when you are, Captain. Dial away.
Hello?
Hi, is this Larry Cooper?
Yes, this is Larry. Who's this?
This is Captain Willis with the Brooksdale, California Police Department.
Police department? I've never even been in California before. What would you be wanting with me?
It's totally okay, Mr. Cooper. You can relax and breathe easy. There's nothing wrong. In fact, on the contrary, this is an off-the-record thank you call.
Thank you? For what?
Well, let me start at the beginning. First of all, you and I have a mutual friend in one Catherine Eleanor Jennings. You gave her a copy of the book you wrote about your Uncle Jed.
Yes, I did.
Well, me and my team here in Brooksdale have been trying to solve the mystery of your uncle's death for years. It's been quite a jigsaw puzzle for us. Well, Miss Jennings left me your book, and thanks to you, the mystery is solved, and your book made all the difference. In fact, if it hadn't been for that, I don't think we ever would have solved the case.
Well, I'm glad to be able to help out just a little. I always wanted the truth to be known about Uncle Jed, but there was so much to tell, no one ever had the time to listen to me. So I figured the best way to tell it all was in a book.
Well, it really helped us a lot, Mr. Cooper. Your book revealed things that we never would have guessed. And I just wanted to thank you for writing it. Oh, and also, I have someone else on the phone with me here who also read your book. His name is Professor Jonathan Daltin. He's a Bigfoot researcher from here in Brooksdale.
Hello, Mr. Cooper. This is Professor Daltin.
Hello, Professor.
I just wanted to say that your book is one of the most fascinating whodunit mysteries I've ever read. It reminded me of some of the mystery books I used to read when I was a kid. You really outdid yourself with that one. It was a real eye-opener.
Well, thank you, Professor. You know, for years that book caused me nothing but grief. When I first published it back many years ago, why, it didn't take any time at all before I was getting death threats and the like.
Oh, really?
Yep. Somebody out there didn't like the truth being told, that's for sure. So I had the book recalled, burned each and every one of them, except that one you got there.
Well, I'm glad you saved the one copy. Without it, I'm sure we'd still be running around in circles trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, it was a fascinating read, that's for certain, sir. Well, hey, are you still in touch with the Sasquatch around there?
Oh, yeah, they come visit me every now and then. I save up a bunch of tomatoes in a basket for them, and they stop by every 2 or 3 days to chow down. I keep a barrel of water next to the basket for them to drink from as well. It's like having an old friend stop by. I figured the best way to honor Uncle Jed would be to keep up the tradition that he started. So, I guess I'll just keep on doing it till it's my time.
That's a beautiful way to do it.
Well, thank you. It gives this old man a reason to keep on living. It gives me a sense of usefulness and purpose. And in some cases, the Sasquatch make for a lot better friend than some people I know.
I would definitely have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, the older I get, the more I realize why the Sasquatch do their best to avoid people and keep to themselves.
I'm right there with you on that one. That makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you for taking our call. It was a real pleasure to talk with you.
Well, like I say, I'm glad I could help out a little. I'm sure it was good to be able to put a bow on Uncle Jed's case after all these years.
Yes, it was. That book of yours is a real godsend.
You're very welcome, Captain. Oh, and one other thing I was going to ask both of you.
Yeah, what's that?
You two wouldn't happen to be getting any reports of flying saucer sightings down your way, would you?
Funny you should ask. Come in.
Hello, Professor.
Captain Willis.
Hey, I'm working on gathering a few books for the local Brooksdale library. I was wondering if you have any you'd like to donate.
Yeah, actually I do. I have a whole stack of Bigfoot Weekly magazines over there, and I've read them a dozen times, and I don't have any need for them anymore. They're over there in that box in the corner.
Thank you. They'll appreciate that.
You know, the library's always been one of my favorite places. Why, when I was a kid, I'd go there nearly every day after school. I'd check out every Bigfoot book I could get my hands on. They had files with old newspaper clippings going back to about the 1800s, along with pictures, pamphlets, posters. I just soaked up all that stuff like a thirsty sponge. I'd check books out by the pile.
Yeah, I was the same way back then. Do you remember the old microfilm machines that held 6 months' worth of newspapers on each reel?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I spent hours rolling through those old reels looking for articles on Bigfoot. I found quite a few, too.
Yeah, back in the day, I spent as much time as I could reading all kinds of books written by the top researchers of the day. John Green, Rene DeHinden, Peter Byrne. They were my heroes back then. They were all doing what I wanted to do.
You know, that makes me think back to my early years, when I was about 21 years old. I didn't even know what Bigfoot was back then. I was sitting under this tree having a smoke. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up and tell the whole story. My father-in-law and I had planned a hunting trip. He was quite the outdoorsman back then, and we decided to make a day of it by going out to Three Sisters, Southern Oregon. Well, it all started when I drove up into the driveway where Ken was getting the horses ready for the trip.
Hey, Pops. You about ready to go?
Just about. Horses are ready to load. Get that tackle there and put it in the truck. Trailer's hooked up. I'm ready for the horses.
Okay. How long does it take to get to the trailhead anyway?
Oh, about 2 hours. We'll park the truck and trailer and saddle up the horses, load the camp gear, and be on our way across the plain.
You already have a spot in mind where we're going to set up camp?
Oh, yeah. I've been hunting that area for years. I always come back with one.
We loaded the horses and the gear into the truck and took off to the Three Sisters wilderness area. We arrived at the Wickiup trailhead, found our parking spot, and a place to unload the horses.
This looks like a good spot right here to unload the horses. get started right across the plains.
Yep, this is where I usually start out, either here or over by the entrance. Get out and watch my back end here as I back up so we can unload the horses.
Okay. That looks good right there. We can get to everything and get them loaded up.
Good. I want to get our campsite before dark and get set up. We can have some grub and turn in so we can get an early start.
We began the trip across the plains, about a 30-minute ride from the trailhead. We arrived where Ken wanted to set up.
This is a good spot right here, next to a little creek where we can get some water and a good spot for the horses.
Okay. I'll start setting up the camp, get the fire started while you get the horses secured.
Okay, horses are all shackled. Did you get that chocolate mix at the store I told you about?
Yeah, I got it right here. I picked up a couple of packs of it.
Great, that makes the best hot chocolate for camping I've found yet. One of these is strawberry.
What? I just reached down and grabbed two from the pile. Darn chocolate must have been laying in the strawberry pile.
Hot strawberry? That doesn't sound too appealing.
No, not to me either.
After we had a bite to eat, we hit the hay for the night. Looking forward to a day of good hunting. I fell asleep quickly. A nice, cool Pacific Northwest night. Unbeknownst to us, we would have a surprise when we woke up the next morning.
What in the hell is going on out here? Where'd the horses go?
Hey, what's all the commotion?
The goddamn horses are gone.
What? How can that be?
You tell me and we'll both know. In all the years of hunting, I have never had this happen. Unless we got horse rustlers around here somewhere.
Look, there's their tracks going back toward the plains.
Running in the direction of the tracks, we came out of the woods and saw them about a half a mile away, heading back to the trailhead.
I'll be darned. Them rascals decided they wanted to go home, so they did the Lone Ranger method of walking by rearing up and moving little by little.
Yeah, it took them all night to get that far. They must have started right after we went to bed.
We hustled out after them and brought them back to camp and secured them.
Well, we wasted some valuable time messing with those bozos. I'm heading down toward the bottom of that valley.
Okay, I'll go up towards those woods and hunt along the tree line.
If you need any help or anything, just shoot in the air 3 times. I'll do the same.
Check. Man, look at that view. I can see halfway across the plains from up here. I think I'll take me a little smoke break, sit down by a tree, and oh yeah, I forgot I brought this candy bar. What in the holy hell was that? Oh my God, what in the world is that? I don't believe I'm seeing this. Maybe if I step back slowly. He's looking me up and down. I hope not to think how tasty I look. Oh, boy, am I glad that's over. I thought sure I was going to have to go over that cliff. I got to get back to camp. I hope I brought some extra pants.
I got back to camp, sat down with a cup of coffee, and gathered my nerves. Ken came back later on.
Man, I had shots at 2 of them. I got one, but he flew over a cliff. I'm going to have to hike down that ravine down there and get him. Did you see anything?
That is an understatement. Have you ever seen a Sasquatch?
No, but I've heard plenty of stories about people who have seen one in this area, too.
Well, now you can say you know one personally.
What? Did you see one?
I sure did. He was at least 9 foot tall, muscular, long, dark hair everywhere except his face. Looked like a human in the face. Tree shook when he stomped the ground. Scared the living crap out of me.
Well, I guess it did. What'd you do? Did he come toward you?
No, he looked me over real good, then turned around, took off, thank the Lord.
Well, that's sure going to be a good story to tell from now on.
I'm sure glad I'm here to be able to tell it.
Oh boy, let's get something to eat.
And that's the way it happened. It was decades ago, but I can remember it as if it was yesterday.
That's quite a story there, Captain. I can never get enough of hearing about people's encounters, you know. To think that he was right there in the tree that you were sitting under is a pretty scary thought.
Yeah, it was pretty up close and personal, that's for sure. I've had many sightings since then, but there's nothing like that first one.
Yeah, first encounters have a way of standing out more than any other. Did you ever figure out what made the horses run off?
I'm assuming they either heard, saw, or sensed a Sasquatch somewhere, and they broke their ties and bolted for dear life.
Did you ever find any footprints?
You know, we were so concerned about getting the horses back, we never even took the time to look around for any evidence. We weren't thinking it was a Sasquatch at the time. We just figured they didn't like being tied up, so they broke free and left. We never even considered the fact that something else might have made them take off. And as for footprints, there could have been tracks right under our feet, and we never would have noticed.
Well, I guess it doesn't really make much difference at this point. It's just my first question to anyone who's had a sighting. Well, thank you for sharing your encounter with me, Captain. The way you told it, it was just like being there.
You're welcome, Professor. Well, I'd better get these magazines to the library. They close in about a half hour from now, so I'd better get over there.